What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be bringing down AMON-RA St. Brown and his route running ability. Guys, he's one of the best receivers at USC, and he's a very talented route runner, and we're going to break this thing down, so let's get started. Guys, please leave in the comments who you would like to see me break down next. Let's get started. So he's going to be running a whip route right here, so he's going to be selling slant, then breaking it back outside. Let's watch this thing full speed, and then we'll break it down. So he's coming out, one step to the inside, one step to the slant, then dropping his weight. So he kind of gives a little bit of a foot fire release, then he gives a crossover to sell like he's going slant right now. So we're going to break this thing down. So he comes off the route, chatters, feet, foot fire, fast hands, fast feet, closing the gap with the DB. The whole goal of this is to get him on his heels and to get a read for him, okay? If we can get him on his heels, we're going to be able to get him react which way, okay? Because he's going to be off balance. So he comes at him, and then he gives a 1-2 to the outside. Again, staying within his frame. These feet are staying inside of his frame, giving violent head and shoulders to the outside, slides him outside just a little bit. Now, when he breaks on this slant, what that's going to do is it's going to get this DB to commit on it. It's going to get him to drive on it. He wants to break this ball up. He bursts to the inside. Now, the main thing I want you to see, he gives his eyes to the quarterback and he commits his shoulders on this slant break, okay? That's what's going to get this DB to bite. He's not just going to let you run a slant, right? If we commit our shoulders, we commit our eyes, we're going to be able to get him to jump. And then he puts his foot in the ground here, having aggressive hips when you want to stop right on a dime, sudden feet, and then he's going to be shooting back outside. That's how you have to change direction, guys. Normally on a whip route, a guy will take it out for about 3 steps. He'll go 1, 2, 3, and then he'll make this break. But on this one, he just takes it out for 1 step because it's in a red zone situation. The ball needs to be out fast. So he comes in 1, drops his weight right now, is exploding out. You can see he's pushing off the inside of this foot to help him explode outside. You see this DB overcommitted. It's very hard for him to change direction. And then he shoots back outside, makes this DB fall, catches this ball for a touchdown. That's a great job working this whip route by AMON-RA. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming out, 1-2, jab to the inside, violent hips, foot in the ground, let's explode outside. Now he's going to be running a curl here, okay? Now the main thing I want you to see, this left hip when this DB turns and runs, that's his weak hip. And we got to be able to attack that weak hip and get in this blind spot. So let's watch this thing full speed. So he's coming out right here, jab to the inside, attack that weak hip, snap it down, come back to the ball, okay? His acceleration out of the break and getting in and out of the break fast is what got him a lot of separation. So he's coming off the ball here. Now he takes this pressure step right here. We call this a pressure step. It's like just working a stem, just working like almost like we're working a stick on a route, but we're taking this called a pressure step and we're closing the distance with this DB and we're going to attack his left hip, which is his weak hip, because that's his weak hip. Because if we attack that front hip, it's a lot easier for him to drive on the ball, right? If we attack that back hip, he's going to be on his heels, he's going to be backpedaling, and it's harder for him to make a break on the ball, right? So he attacks that near hip, that weak hip, and he snaps down with this right leg. I know it's a little tough to see. He snaps down 2, 3, and he's in and out of this break in 3 steps. Now, he's got his head snapped back to the ball. DB's still in this back pedal. Now, he's getting ready for the process to break on this ball. So it's a race to this spot. Who's going to get there first? It's going to be AMON-RA because he's accelerating out of the break, guys. That's what we have to do. He's pumping those arms, and you can see he's running out of this break back to the ball. This DB's got no chance. If he sits there and waits, DB's going to make a break on this ball. And I know you hear it all the time, oh, come back to the ball, come back to the ball. But a lot of guys don't really know what that is. We got to accelerate out of the break. We got to pump arms, and we got to drive back to this ball. Then he catches this thing, then works upfield. That's a great job working that blind spot, working that pressure step, and snapping off on this curl. Here we go. Let's watch this thing full speed. So he's coming out, jab, snap it down, 3 steps, accelerate out of the break, come back to the ball. That's a great job. Okay, so now we're going to watch this route full speed, then we're going to break it down. Coming out here, selling vertical, then he's going to be working this dig on just a straight speed cut. So this is another way you can run a dig. There's many ways to skin a cat, right? So DB's inside leverage, it's zone, right? We want to get him to turn these hips. That's our goal because we're running a dig, okay? So pre-snap, we come him to the line of scrimmage. We see he's inside, we're running a dig. He could attack this multiple ways. He could angle his stem inside and attack the midline of this DB to get him on his heels, to get him backpedaling, and then break this thing off on a dig. We could work that, right? Takes a little bit longer. He's just going to get up into this route, sell vertical, get this DB to turn his hips, stay out of his range, then snap it off. So full speed off the line of scrimmage. You see his head's down, great pad level. He's pumping those arms. This DB's thinking vertical all the way. We're selling this thing vertical all the way through this route. So he's going vertical, vertical, vertical. DB opens up that gate. He's turning and running. He's not just going to let him run right by him. That's the importance of selling the fade guy. No DB is going to let you just run right by him unless it's maybe a cover 2 situation. And even then, he's going to try to get hands on you. So we got to sell the vertical every single time. Then what does he do? no indicator, right? Right here, a lot of receivers, what they'll do is they'll pop up. They'll expose their numbers. What I mean is they pop their chest up and they slow down. That gives this DB time to react, right? He's staying full speed and he just puts his foot in the ground and he's exploding out. Now, the main thing I want you to see is when he goes right foot, he opens up this left foot, opens up this hip and gets straight down this line, guys. He doesn't round this off and take a bunch of extra steps and round this thing up about 2 yards deeper than he needs to be. Puts his foot in the ground, comes straight across the line of scrimmage, opens up very similar to Odell Beckham. You watch Odell Beckham run routes and then you watch AMON-RA run routes. It's very similar. Foot in the ground, head and shoulder movement to the outside. DB opens up this gate. That's a great job. Then running out of this thing, pumping those arms, race to this spot. DB's not going to get there because he's forced to speed turn and we know where we're going. He doesn't know where we're going. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming out, vertical, selling vertical. Stick, open up those hips, accelerate right down the line. That's great body control by AMON-RA. Let's watch this thing full speed, and then we'll break down this goal line route. So he's coming up, a little bit of a foot fire, jab to the inside, restack him, and he's going to be working this corner. Good job high pointing the ball. So now, again, what did we talk about in the first clip? When he does this foot fire right here, this DB's off, right? A little bit of a catch technique, goal line situation. He's not jamming him off the line of scrimmage. He doesn't want any part of that, right? So he's going to be a little flat-footed. So we got to close the gap with him and get him on those heels. So he closes the gap with him. 1-2, just making a crossover. Again, he's going to go left, right. So when he makes this crossover, he keeps his feet underneath him. He stays on the inside portion of his feet, right? Head and shoulders to the outside. What that does is that's going to get this DB to jump. If we can stay explosive with our feet and violent with our head and shoulders in the direction we want the DB to go, in the opposite direction of where we're going to go, which is in this case a corner, we're going to get some separation. So as we can see here, got him just all of his weight's on this left foot. He's flat-footed. Like we said, we got the goal that we needed. So what does he do? He works vertical first. He doesn't just go off of this and then go run to this spot right now because the timing would be off. He understands timing. So he has to restack this DB, get to his depth here. 1, 2, 3, gets up for about 3 steps, then works this corner. So here, 1, 2, second inside step, head and shoulder movement to the inside. As you can see, head and shoulder movement is so important. But the main thing is he restacked this guy. Anytime we're working out breaking route, in breaking route against press, and we can beat this guy off the line of scrimmage, we got to restack him because we get him chasing our hip, and he's not going to be able to get a read on us because all we got to do is make one little move at the top of the route. Snaps that head back around, ball's up top, goes up and high points this thing, one hand. It's a great catch, such a talented catch. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming out here, foot fire to get him on his heels, crossover, restack, head and shoulder movement, break to the post, come back over the top. So right here, let's watch this thing full speed. So fast feet, 1, 2, restack, head and shoulders to the inside, gets this DB thinking inside. Great play by AMON-RA St. Brown. Let's watch this thing full speed, then we'll break down this route. So he's coming out here. Triple rocker step. That's a great job on this corner. Is another way you can run a corner, especially against zone coverage. I love this against zone coverage, and this would also work in a situation where, let's say he was pressed and then we restacked him like the last clip, right? This kind of break would also work. So it's a triple rocker step. That's what I call it. So he's going to be bursting up here. You see Odell do this a lot, and this is why I like to make the comparison. So he's going to go 1. This right leg is to sell like he's just maybe going corner right now. Maybe he's breaking this thing off on an out, right? And then he goes 2 with the left leg. So he goes 1, 2, 3. Gets his DB to jump inside. He's accelerating out of the break. He's pushing off the inside portion of his foot. So anytime we're working a rocker step, guys, anytime we're going to be pushing off the inside of our foot. Okay, that's where we need to stay. So you can see him here. He's pushing off the inside of this foot, inside of that foot, head and shoulders are working with him. So while your feet are going, your body has to be going in that direction too, right? So when he comes off, there's the first rocker step, head, shoulders are a little bit turned in this direction. So shoulders a little bit turned, shoulders turn with the left step, and then now he's selling like he's going post again, head and shoulders turn with the right step, okay? Your weight stays on the inside portion of your foot. You don't open up those hips. I don't want you to open up those hips. The mistake guys make is they open up these toes and they open up their hips and they're slow. You want to keep these toes closed and you want to keep your head and shoulders in the direction of where you're trying to fake this DB out, the which way you're trying to get him to go. Does a great job of that. Now when he's here, he's exploding off this step, right? He's exploding off this rocker step like we said. DB's off balance to the inside. Now, we already got the advantage, but I want to make sure we keep the advantage. I want to make sure I'm accelerating out of the break. I'm continuing to get separation from this guy, and that's a great job by AMON-RA St. Brown working that triple rocker step on a corner. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming out. 1, 2, 3. Head and shoulders working with our feet. That's a great job. Okay, let's watch this route full speed, then we'll break it down. So this is going to be a post corner here. There's another example of how well he runs a corner route. So he's coming off here. 1, 2, third outside step, head and shoulders working with it, right? DB's got a very poor base right now, so I'm not too worried about that. But he takes it 3 steps to the inside. Now, the main thing I think is what gets this DB is his shoulders. He commits his shoulders to this post. He doesn't even have to look back with his eyes. Okay, this DB should be a little bit more disciplined. You can see he's looking at these eyes right now. He's looking at these shoulders, not watching his hips, not watching his body. That's what gets this DB into trouble, right? Puts his foot in the ground. 1, 2, 3 here. Head and shoulder movement to the inside. DB's completely opened up. He's driving on that post because he doesn't have as good of eye discipline as we're used to seeing. And then again, he doesn't look back right away. He's still focused on accelerating out, pumping those arms, accelerating out of the break, then making this catch, going up and getting it at its highest point. That's a great job working this post corner. Let's watch this thing full speed. Again, working a speed cut off the corner. He doesn't break down at the top. Here we go. Let's watch this thing full speed. So third outside, 1, 2, 3, stick. Everything needs to be a stick. It's not breaking down. We're not going to break down on any route that's a double move. Here we go. Let's watch this thing full speed. So coming out, break down, restack, then work this corner. That's a great job closing the distance with this DB, giving him a move to the inside. So what he's doing here is zone coverage, right? We want to step on his toes, okay? Quote unquote, step on his toes. What that does is that gets him on his heels. And again, if we get him on his heels, if we can get him thinking, backpedaling, we're going to be able to get some separation. So that's exactly what he does. Gets him on these heels, breaks down. So fast hands, fast feet right here. These fast hands, look what happens when he goes fast hands, fast feet. This DB reacts. He thinks a break's coming, so he gets his feet in the ground, flat-footed. That's not what the DB wants, but that's exactly what we want. So anytime we're working a corner route, guys, against zone coverage, if we can close the gap with him and we could give him a move where we break down a little bit of a stutter, that gets his feet active, that gets him flat-foot because he's thinking of a break's coming. So break down, jab to the outside, right? Selling like he's just going to break down and go out right now. Head and shoulder movement to the outside. This is another way you could get separation on a corner. Head and shoulders to the outside. He's exploding up. Gets this DB's weight outside. Gets him shifted outside because he's not just going to let him run out. That's how we get him to move, right? And now he bursts upfield. Now he restacks him. He makes this break to the corner, right? He breaks down. 2 steps up to the corner, sudden stick, gets to his depth, right? But he's restacking this DB, working to get back on top of him. Like I said, anytime, guys, we're one-on-one with the DB like this, especially when he's off, we got to be able to restack him. We got to be able to give him a move at the top of the route. He's accelerating out of his break. There's a bad position for this DB to be in with no hands and one of the best receivers in college, one of the most talented route runners in college football. And then he goes up and catches this thing at its highest point. It's a great job by AMON-RA St. Brown. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming out, breakdown stick, restack, put his foot in the ground, explode up to this corner, high point this ball. It's a great job. So now he's going to be working a comeback here. He's going to be working a split release. So we're going to talk about a split release, and then we're going to talk about it at the top of the route. So let's watch this thing full speed. So split release, let's work up top. Snap it down in and out of this break. Okay, so he takes about 2 extra steps, but it's very hard to change directions 15 yards downfield, and he's only going to get better. You watch guys like Julio Jones, they're able to change direction in 3 steps, 15, 20 yards downfield. AMON-RA St. Brown is still young, and he's only going to get better, and this is a very high-level route. So he gives this like split release here. Now, split release is where you just split your feet, and if he wants to take an outside release, your right foot's going to hit the ground first, right? So he's going to go right, left, head and shoulder movement to the inside. Again, keeping this base, his toes are a little bit open, which is why it's not as explosive. If he could keep these toes closed, he'll have a lot more push off that inside arch of his foot, and it'll be a lot more explosive. But the main thing I want you to see is his violent head and shoulders. His violent head and shoulders is what gets him a little bit of separation up the line. Gets this DB jumping to the inside, gets his weight on the inside. That's all we need to do. He didn't want any part of this jam, didn't put any hands on him. So head and shoulders to the inside allows him to take this outside release. Right now here, great job keeping his head down, pumping those arms, selling vertical, guys. That's one of the main things that he does so well. He sells vertical. He's got his head down. He's pumping those arms, running full speed, starting to peek back for this ball. Great peek back technique. Gets this DB to kick into second gear. That's all that does. It gets him to believe that we're running fade. If we can make a DB believe we're running fade every single time we're not running a fade, we're going to get separation, guys. So that's what he does so well of. Now he snaps down with this left leg first. So left snaps down. Again, as you can see, brings his chin to his knee and has violent hips. So he snaps down here, brings his chin to his knee. I think he could sink at his hips a little more. He kind of bends, but he brings that chin to his knee, which is a great job. This is a pretty explosive position that we're going to be in. And when we can drop on a dime like this, and this DB's kicked up into second gear trying to prevent the deep ball, we're going to get separation. The DB's not going to be able to react that fast because he doesn't know where we're going, right? So he snaps it off, 2, 3, and now you see his second step. Second step, third step, angling him back downhill. That gets him back on this 45-degree angle. It gets his hips turned. He's going to be driving off this inside portion. Then he takes those extra steps. But the main thing I want you to see, again, is he's running out of this break. He's not stopping. He's not popping up his pad level right here. He's running out of this break to ensure that he gets separation from this guy. Quarterback gets the ball out on time. Then he sticks this ball out for a touchdown. That's a great job by AMON-RA St. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming out here. Split release, head and shoulders, sell vertical, push vertical, snap it off. 3 steps, run out of this break, then for a touchdown. That's a great job by AMON-RA St. So we're going to be watching this fader. The main thing I want you to see is how he high points this ball. So he comes off, that double move, doesn't get this DB, but he goes up and gets this thing at its highest point. That's what we need to do, okay? So same release we talked about here. He likes this thing in the red zone where you give a little foot fire. 1-2, head and shoulders. DB played it great. Didn't make this believable enough with his head and shoulders, and you see how his feet are a little bit outside of his frame. That makes him a little bit slow, makes it not as believable, right? But now he's coming out over the top, and he goes up and highest points this thing, right? High point, but he doesn't go up right now. He waits till the last possible second to go up and high point this thing, which allows his DB to not have enough time to react. Everything's tactical, guys. We got to wait till the last second. Anytime we're going to jump ball, we don't want to jump too early, or even if we do get to the ball, because that DB is going to be playing our hands, right? This DB doesn't know where the ball is. He's looking back for it. He's going to play his hands, but AMON-Ra's late with his hands, goes up. That's a great one-handed catch. It's a great job by AMON-RA St. Working this highest point, working this goal line fade. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming out, 1-2, DB plays it well, ball's up in the air. Let's go up and catch it at its highest point. That's a great job. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Please leave in the comments who you would like to see me break down next, guys. I would really appreciate that. And any questions you guys have, that would also mean a lot to me. I'll see you guys next time.